بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The theme of today's Khutba is Zakatul Fitr wa Ahkamul Eid. It has to do with Zakatul Fitr. That is the food, the lawful giving after the end of the month of Ramadan as an expiation and purification for the fasting person, and the rules or the meaning of the Eid, that is the Eid. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, today marked the last Friday of the month of Ramadan. This shows that the day or days are running very, very fast. And it is also an indication that we have some deduction from the numbers of days, years, months that Allah designed for us to live in this particular world. This is the month, that is the month of Ramadan. It's actually living us, and this shows in the context of the ayah of the fasting. This confirm the statement of the statement of Allah Azza wa Jalla, that He's saying that mother ayyamun ma'dudat, just few numbers of days. Yes, this is the days that was given to us, 30 or 29 days of the year that we have to serve Allah, we have to fast, and most of the days has passed by. For subhanallah, exalted is He, Allah, the one who makes the night to cover the day, and as well the days to cover the night. Allah mentioned in the Quran that يُقَلِّبُ اللَّهُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ, Almighty Allah Azza wa Jalla alternates the day and the night, and in that إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَعِبْرَةً لِأُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ, in that it is a lesson for those who has vision, who has insight. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, from the mercy of Allah, that He legislated a great act of worship at the end of the month of Ramadan, which increases our iman and also increases us in reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and which also serve as a correction for our defects or deficiency in the fasting. And from what Allah legislated at the end of the month of Ramadan is that Zakatul Fitr. Yes, of course, in the Quran, from Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah, down to Surah Al-Nas, you will never find an ayah that talks about Zakatul Fitr. No single ayah talks about Zakatul Fitr. But Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give permission to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to legislate the Zakatul Fitr on his ummah. What is in the Quran is وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ. Whatever the Prophet brought to you, you have to accept it. وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. And whatever he abandoned you, you have to be abandoned. That is what is in the Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ is the one whom Allah mentioned in the Quran that mother وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He has never mentioned something from his own desire, rather a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that, if the Prophet ﷺ legislates something, it is a legislation from Allah. For that Zakatul Fitr, it is a legislation from the Prophet ﷺ upon his ummah, upon every Muslim, male or female, based on what is established in the, or what is agreed upon by Bukhari and Muslim, hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, that he said, فرض رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم زكاة الفطر, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم legislated Zakatul Fitr, that is the Sadaqatul, we call it, or it can also be called as Sadaqatul Fitr or Zakatul Fitr, that is the raw food given at the end of the month of Ramadan, that the Prophet ﷺ legislated upon his ummah, Sa'am min tamrin, Sa', one sa'i of mother of dates. Sa'i is the mother 4 hands full of an average person, that is equivalent to one sa'i. And if you are to use the small mudun nabi, 4 of it will fill the sa'i. If you don't know how the sa'i is, in fact, I brought it out to come and show it, but actually, وَمَا أَنْسَانِهِ إِلَّا الشَّيْطَانُ أَنْ أَذْكُرَهُ, I forgot to come and present it to the respected brothers and sisters in Islam. You have to give 1 sa'i of either dates or 1 sa'i, that is the measurement of mother sha'ir, barley. And this commandment or the zakat al-fitr is to be given upon the slave, the free person, both male and the female. It is legislated upon them, young or old from the Muslims. And the Prophet ﷺ commanded that to be given before people go out to the prayer, to the praying ground. And this zakat al-fitr, it is the responsibility of the head of the family to give it. You give it upon yourself. You give it on behalf of yourself and on behalf of the entire family, both your wives or your wife, and as well each of your children, or anyone whom his provision is under your responsibility. Also hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar as well, may Allah be pleased with them, him and his father. He said, the Prophet ﷺ commanded that zakat al-fitr, sadaqat al-fitr should be given on behalf of a saghir, young, old, slave, free person, and all those whom their provision is under you. And the zakat al-fitr is only legislated upon the Muslims. If a person have a child who is a non-Muslim, zakat al-fitr is not to be given upon that particular child, provided that child is not a Muslim. Because zakat al-fitr is a purification. Zakat al-fitr cannot purify him from the impurity of kufr, disbelief. For that, zakat al-fitr is only given on the Muslims. As for the kafir, the non-Muslims, فَلَيْسَ مِنْ أَهْلِ الزَّكَاةِ, is not part of the people whom zakat is to be given on behalf of them until they accept Islam. As for a person who has laborer under him, slave or servant, or child or children who are non-Muslim, you are not to give zakat on their behalf because they are in a state of impurity, of kufr. Zakat al-fitr cannot purify them, except zakat al-fitr cannot purify them, and it cannot be given on behalf of them except on behalf of the Muslims. And the zakat al-fitr, which is recognized in the sight of Allah as zakat al-fitr, is the one given to the poor person Not you are not to transfer zakat to the food, the raw food you are giving, you are not to transfer it to the rich person, except you do it out of maybe you don't know, out of ignorance, you don't know that the person is not. Then Allah will now give you reward for your intention. But anyone who are giving zakat to you should be recognized as the person who is in need of that zakat. And the zakat al-fitr that will be given must be given to the poor person or his representative, his or her representative before, or sorry, on time. It should be given on time, that before the Salatul Eid. And whoever accepts zakat al-fitr, whoever zakat al-fitr is given as a raw food, should also should also extend it to others. As you receive, give it for yourself and on behalf of your family too. You are not to just collect them and gather them in your household. Zakat al-fitr is legislated upon a person provided you have the food that will suffice you for the day of Eid and more. If you have the food that will suffice you for the day of Eid and the next day of Eid, you have to give zakat al-fitr. But if what you receive from people can only suffice you for that day, zakat al-fitr is not legislated upon you. As for the time, the earliest that someone can give zakat al-fitr is 2 days or a day before Eid. 2 days or a day before Eid is the earliest. And the least time that you can give zakat al-fitr is you have to give it before the Imam rise to lead the Salatul Eid. That is the least. The earliest, 2 days or a day before the Eid, and the least, the day of Eid, prior to the time that the Imam will rise to lead the prayer. Meaning you have to give the zakat al-fitr you can start giving the zakat al-fitr on the 28th of the month of Ramadan, 29th. But preferably start giving on the 29th, because we don't know if the crescent moon of the Shawwal will be sighted on that 29th. And it is prohibited for you to delay the zakat al-fitr to after the Eid, because if you give it after Eid, after the prayer must have been concluded, it is not recognized in the sight of Allah as zakat al-fitr. It's not a zakat that purifies your fasting again. You will be given only the reward of someone who give charity, and also not giving that on time when you are opportune to do that. It is a sin upon you also, but that will not deprive you from the reward of the charity. And this is based on the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas in his statement that فرض Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam zakat al-fitr, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam legislated zakat al-fitr, that is sadaqatul fitr, for two reasons. One, tuhratan lis-sa'im, it serves as a purification and expiation for the fasting person, min al-lagwi, from indecent speech that he must have made during the month of Ramadan. You know, in the hadith al-Qudusi, hadith of Abi Hurairah, that that the hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that fasting is for me. وأنا أجزي به فإذا كان يوم صوم أحدكم فلا يصوم ولا يصوم, to the end that if you are fasting, the fasting person should not make unnecessary talk. Our prophet has to do with speech that has no purpose, or something indecency. Maybe you must have made during the month of Ramadan, then zakat al-fitr will now take care of that. Just like when you are praying your 5 daily prayers, after you end the prayer, the first thing you are expected to do is what? Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. The istighfar, the 3 istighfar you made will take care of the defects that you must have gotten during your prayer. Likewise, zakat al-fitr will take care of your shortcoming during the month of Ramadan. For that, it is tuhratul lis-sa'im. It's a purification for the fasting person from vain speech or al-rafath, indecencies. That is matter indecencies. Allah has to do with speech without any purpose. Al-rafath has to do with indecencies. Must have made noise or insult someone or talk that will earn you the wrath of Allah. Because إِنَّ لِلْعَبْدِ لَيَتَكَلَّمُ بِالْكَلِمَةِ مِنْ سَخَطِ اللَّهِ لَا يُلْقِي لَهَا بَالٍ. You must have made something that can earn you the wrath of Allah. But since you give the zakat al-fitr, to now take care of your defects. And the second wisdom behind giving the zakat al-fitr is طُعْمَةٌ لِلْمَسَاكِينَ. It is a provision for the poor person, or for the poor people. It is a provision for the poor people. As the Prophet mentioned in one hadith, even though the scholars say that the hadith is weak, that مَاذَا أُغْنُوهُمْ فِي هَذَا الْيَوْمِ عَنِ الطَّوَافِ, that you should give them provision that will prevent them from moving around on the day of on the day of Eid. For that, the Prophet ﷺ now said, فَمَنْ أَدَّاهَا قَبْلَ الصَّلَاةِ, whoever give it before the prayer, فَهِيَ زَكَاةٌ مَقْبُولَةٌ, that is something which is recognized as the zakat al-fitr. But whoever give it after the Eid, this brought us to that statement, to our initial statement. If you give it after the Eid, then it is a normal sadaqah. You'll be given a reward of someone who gives charity. But as for zakat al-fitr, you are a sinner for that. And whatever you are giving should be something which, if they give it to you, you will like to accept. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You can never achieve the piety, the full righteousness, حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, until you give from what you love. What you love to accept, like to also give that. Whatever you are giving, you should know that you are not giving it to a person. You are giving it to Allah. For that, in fact, when you are giving something like that, you yourself have to be humble in giving to the person. Because the person you are giving it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are carrying out the rule or the commandment of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For that, zakat al-fitr is an act of worship which we must abide by it. We must abide it based on what is narrated by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And whatever you are giving should be something which is the food of the people of the community, or the people of the locality. Then, as for the zakat al-fitr, most of the scholars opines that you are to give it in a raw food, not in a monetary matter, in a monetary value. Don't value what you are to give as zakat al-fitr to give in money. Only one person, one of the scholars, accept that it can be given in monetary value, which is Abu Hanifa. But Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, and Imam Ahmad, both of them agreed that yes, zakat al-fitr should be given in a food, matter as a food. Because the Nabi said that طُعْمَةٌ لِلْمَسَاكِينَ is a provision, is a food for the poor people. For that, you have to give it the food. Giving it is what coincides with the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we are not to transfer zakat al-fitr from the locality to another place, except if the people of the community are if there is enough food for the people of the community, then you take it to the place that they are more in need, or in the greatest need for that. For that, my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, that is regarding to the zakat al-fitr. You have to be conscious of Allah and make provision of righteous action for the rest of the days that is left for the month of Ramadan. And make provision, as for the best provision is consciousness of Allah. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah mentioned in the context of the verses of the fasting in Surah Al-Baqarah, where He mentioned Shahr Ramadan, down to where He said, وَلِتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, that so that you may complete the fasting of the days of the Ramadan, وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ, and for you to magnify or glorify Allah for guiding you towards his obedience, because it's by the guidance of Allah that you were able to fast from the beginning of the month of Ramadan up to this moment, and for you to appreciate Allah. And this mother glorification or magnification of Allah that will be making what it is expected for you to glorify Allah at the end of the month of Ramadan, at the end of the month of Ramadan. And this takes place during or after the sunset of the 29th of Ramadan, or after the declaration of the sighting of the crescent moon of Shawwal. From the time we heard that the crescent moon of Shawwal has been sighted from the leader of the believers, then we have to start proclaiming the name of Allah by saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. 2 takbirat, 1 tahleel, 2 takbirat, and 1 tahmeed. This is the best of the mode of the remembrance of Allah on that day. And this is based on the narration of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. That is the best of the days. The one of 3 takbirat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. But the best of it is the one narrated by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. 2 takbirat, 1 tahleel, 2 takbirat. That is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud narrated the hadith, whom the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that man kana mustannan falyastanna bihadi ummi abd, that whoever want to follow my tradition should follow the guidance of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. For that, my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, on the day of Eid, what is expected of you, first of all, you take your ritual bath. You take your ritual bath, which suffices you to do the prayer with it, the Salatul Eid with. Ritual bath, that is, do the normal bath, then you pour water on your head, 2 hands full, 3 times on your head, then you pour the water from the head to the feet at the right hand side, then the left hand side from the head to the feet also. You did the ritual bath, and that suffices you to make your Salatul Eid with it. And again, on that day, part of the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad is for you to take something before going to the Eid. You are not to go, it is not allowed for anyone to fast on that day. It is prohibited. If you fast on the day of Eid, you've disobeyed the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Take a couple of dates, like odd numbers of dates. And again, the takbirat you'll be doing, you do it in the masajid, at home, and also in the market. On your way to the Eid, you are expected to be doing the takbirat, also going to the Eid. And when you reach the Eid ground, you sit and listen to the admonishment that will be given on that particular day. Salatul Eid has 2 rak'at. First rak'ah is for you to mention the takbiratul first rak'ah include 7 takbirat, including the takbiratul ihram. 7 takbirat. Then second rak'ah include 5 takbirat. And the Imam leading the prayer, what is expected in the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is for you in the first takbir, first rak'ah, you are to recite Suratul A'la or Suratul Qaf. In the second rak'ah, you are to recite Suratul Ghashiyah or Suratul Tur. Either of the 2, you are allowed to do that. It is part of the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And for those that will be missing, maybe a couple of rak'ah, maybe 1 rak'ah, on that particular day, for a valid reason or an excuse, maybe missing. If you miss the rak'ah, you have to make it up. Make it up in accordance to the description. If it's 1 rak'ah, the first rak'ah you missed, then that serves as your second rak'ah. If you have to pay it back, the rak'ah that you meet the Imam is your first rak'ah. If you have to stand up and make it up, then the first rak'ah that you meet is going to be your second rak'ah. Because وَمَا فَاتَكُمْ فَأَتِمُّوا وَمَا أَدْرَكْتُمْ فَصَلُّوا وَمَا فَاتَكُمْ فَأَتِمُّوا. You have to complete it. For that, the first rak'ah that you miss is going to serve as a second rak'ah. Meaning, if you stand up, you stand with the takbiratul qiyam, takbir of rising. Then you now include 5 takbirat, 5 extra takbirat, making 6 takbirat in it. And even if you complete the prayer without the extra takbirat, after the takbirat qiyam, maybe something now carried your mind. You now start the recitation of the glorious Quran. You are not to stop it again, just continue. You've already missed those couple of takbirat. Then continue your prayer is valid. Only that you missed those sunnah. And if the Imam starts the takbirat, if you meet the Imam making the takbirat al-zawaid, that is the extra takbirat. You missed takbirat al-ihram. You missed the second takbir. You missed the third takbir. If you just arrive, first of all, you have to make the intention of making the takbirat al-ihram and join the Imam. You are not to come to Mada to make those extra takbirat that you miss with the Imam again. Just continue with the Imam. That is what is expected in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. What is left is dropped for him. And if you catch up with the Imam reciting the Quran or being in rukur, if you just arrive, do your takbiratul ihram and join the congregation. Continue with the Imam like that in the rukur. You are not expected to just stand and make the takbiratul zawaid, the extra takbirat before you join the Imam in the rukur again. Just join him. And if you meet the Imam, maybe you meet him after he must have completed the prayer. What is expected of you is for you to sit down and listen to the khutbah that will be delivering after the Salatul Eid. And again, you have to say and be saying the Ameen after any supplication made by the Imam. And if the Imam leading the prayer forgets the takbiratul zawaid, then maybe after the takbiratul ihram now start the recitation of the Quran. Then the Imam has to just continue. That is also waived. It is a sunnah. Then he has already missed that position of it. And Salatul Eid, the position of Salatul Eid, it is a legislation upon every male. Every male must go to the Eid ground. And it is a strong sunnah on women to join to participate in the Salatul Eid, based on the hadith of Atiyah, may Allah be pleased with her, who says that the Prophet ﷺ used to command them to go to the Eid ground with the young girls that has not reached the age of maturity, and those girls that are even menstruating. You know, it is prohibited for a girl who is menstruating to pray. Prayer is prohibited for them, but with that, the Prophet ﷺ still command them to go to the Eid ground with the menstruating women, for them to participate in the goodness, in the mercy that will descend on that particular day, and for them to also join the supplication that we'll be making on that particular day. But for them, it's for them to distance themselves from the prayer. They should not pray. They should just be there. Any supplication, they say Amen. And if this is the position of the woman, even though young women that has not reached the age of maturity, or women that are menstruating, what of the male, the males that used to stay behind, not joining the Eid, maybe because of tailoring, because at that day that is when you see tailors sewing. They will not go to Eid. Or those that did not sew their Salah clothes for them, they will go and stay with the tailor. They must collect their clothes. That is not part of the Sunnah. What you are to do, if the tailor refuses to sew your clothes for you, just look for the best of your clothes and wear. And you, the tailor, also deprive yourself from the income of that day and join the congregation. Because not doing that can end the wrath of Allah. Because something which is done just once or twice in a year. it is not befitable on anybody, mother, to stay behind from from the Eid, except if there is mother legitimate excuse. And also part of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is for you to go to the Eid ground on foot. Not because you have many cars in your house, you can ride the car and the Eid ground is close by. You just have to carry car and move. That is not part of the sunnah of Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ used to go on foot, even though there was mother camel at that particular time. They would go on foot, except for a reason, in mother incapacity or distance. If the place is far, then you are allowed to move with your car. There is nothing wrong with that. But if it's close by, be going with the foot, because every step you are taking, Allah expiates your sin, and again, Allah also mother compensate you with reward. And again, for the male, while going to the Eid, you have to clean yourself. As I earlier mentioned, ritual bath. You have to be on perfume. Let people feel comfort while praying. Wear the best of your clothes. And it is also prohibited on our women. Let them be conscious of Allah that it is prohibited on them for them to perfume. You are not to put anything fragrant, anything that will bring the attention of the male. It is prohibited for them. Islam prohibits some things for the male, and again permits some things for the female. Then permits some things for the prohibit some things for the female and permit male, like something has to do with mother perfume. Like gold now, they are allowed to wear. We are deprived from wearing. Perfume, they are allowed to perfume. They are prohibited from it. We are permitted to do that. For that, Islam has did justice. Wear the best of your clothes. Go out with your wives, your children, and all those that are under your responsibility. And also for the ladies also, while going, dress Islamically. Don't wear an adornment that will make you look like a prostitute. Going to the Eid to go and serve Allah. Allah does not like that. For that, go to the Eid ground in compliance and obedience to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, seeking the goodness and also making mother answering the supplication of the Imam on that particular day. And after the Eid, you are allowed to rejoice the way you want it, but not at the expense of obedience of Allah. Don't disobey Allah on that particular day. Don't say, fasting is gone, I can do and undo now. Let the fasting speaks in you. Let them see that yes, there is a sign that your fasting is acceptable. Because on that day, you see some people misbehaving. They say they will just misbehave. That is also not part of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rejoice, eat the best of the food. Anything, any type of food, eat, provided it's not something that intoxicates you, and so many things you are allowed to do that. Rejoice, and again, alhamdulillah, obey Allah and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.